Okay, so this is my long-term review of a Kawasaki Z650, and I say long-term review because I've had it a few years now, and I've used it every day, back and forth to work, and I've gone out for the odd ride on it on the weekend. So the bike has been used as well. The bike has been used in all weathers, rain, sleet, when we've had the grit on the road, when we all know what that does to a motorcycle. So I bought the bike in 2020, March 2020, just my luck really, as the pandemic kicked in with the face masks and you couldn't go like 2 feet outside the front door and everything. So the first year I didn't really use it too much, but since then I've used it every day, back and forth to work, and I think I put about over 10,000 miles on the bike now, and it's coming to towards the end of 2022. So the bike, the long-term review, what's my thoughts of it? Well, be warned, my thoughts on this bike is not going to be very kind really, because as much as I like the bike looks absolutely amazing with the coloured frame, the green, just the matte black, the way it looks. That's the reason which caught my eye, to be honest with you. But like I said, this review is not going to be too kind to it because I've been quite surprised with the bike really. The first thing off I want to talk about is the seat here. It's a strange bike to me personally. Out of all the motorcycles I've owned over the years, which is quite a lot, the seat end is weird. You'd feel as if you sat inside, down there inside the frame. You're very low to the ground, so anybody who's short, this bike would suit you. But it'd feel as if like you're in the sole of the frame of the bike, and personally myself, I just don't like that feeling. And I noticed that not long after I bought the bike how strange that was for me. So that's one negativity personally for me. But like I said, if you're a short person, this bike should be ideal for you really. The other one is the suspension. The suspension on you obviously is set up for the road. It'll feel very loose, very, oh, I don't know if it's loose or hard, but you'll feel all the bumps on the road, even just the little bumps. And it's very unsettling when you're going through a corner and you catch a bump. It'll unsettle the old bike. So I know you can adjust the suspension on them. You can make it harder or a bit softer, but this is just road suspension, and it's just sort of like a slap-on thing. It's not All-Ins or any big company, which obviously you've got to pay for. So probably the setting on there is not going to be the best. The problems with the bike I've had, I must admit, to be honest with you, I've only had one real problem with the bike, and that was, I think it was the winter of last year, or was it the first year? It was one of the winters where I got up to go to work and I tried to start the bike and it wouldn't start. Not quite sure what it was. Checked a few little things on there, nothing. So eventually I had to go to the Kawasaki dealership back, and what they said was, obviously because like I said, I had to ride this bike all weathers, and the grit had got to it, and because I wasn't on top of it or washing it, to be honest with you, I must be a bit of a lazy bastard, because I do wash it from time to time, but not all the time. And when you're coming home from work late at night and it's cold and it's damp and it's the last thing on your mind is to actually clean the bike, whereas you just want to put it by, get your lock on it, cover it up, and that's what I done. So that's what they said, it was grit down on the connections or something, and that's what caused it. What else? The power on it. The power on it's pretty good, I must admit. When you accelerate, it's there. You've got to wind it on a bit more, but the power is there. That's the other thing now I'm thinking about, is the gearbox. Wow, whoever designed this gearbox for the road. I just can't really work it out, because thirds, when you're going through a small village, or you come into an area where you're slowing down, or you just want to tinkle through, I find that third gear is too high and just boggy, whereas second gear is too low and too revvy. And I'm finding out with the other gears as well, whoever designed the gearbox on this, the gear ratios on this bike, I mean, to me personally, is miles off. It's not a very comfortable bike to ride through a slow area, small area, where like a village or somewhere like that. And the other thing, I'm always finding that no matter how many times I go out on it, and I'm still doing it now today, the gearbox again, I got in 6th gear, and I'm always feeling like I need another gear. I'm accelerating, and I've got the top gear now on a 6, and I'm going for another gear where it's not, the gear ratio is not that way. So I'm always going for another gear on it. Make it that way you will. It just doesn't seem like the gearbox, the gear ratios for the roads in the UK or anyway, or maybe any road, is not the best. Modifications, I haven't really done many modifications to this bike. I mean, I bought it for 2 reasons really. The one was, obviously I needed something just a little bit bigger, because I had a girlfriend who was going to ride on the back, so I couldn't have a 400. I needed something which was a bit punchy. And the other one was to get me back and forth to work, which was a bit of a distance, and I wanted just a little bit of power there, to be honest with you. And so the modifications is, I put a grill protector on there. I don't know if you can see it. And really, the small mirror on there, took the big mirrors off. I wish I left them on now, to be honest with you, but there you go. And the rear fender, I don't know if you can see, I haven't changed the rear fender, mainly because I'm going to use it all year round. I'm not a dry weather biker, a weekend warrior. I'm going to use it all weathers, and it just stops the spray coming up over your back. So I never changed that, to be honest with you, even though I got the tail tidy to actually do that. Yeah, so all in all, the bike hasn't ticked all the boxes for me. Like I said, it's a lovely looking bike. I would have liked to have got a small can on there. That would have given it a bit more of a nice tune to set it off. Like I said, maybe the tail tidy on the back. Yeah, to look at it, it's definitely 10 out of 10 looking at it. It's a lovely looking bike. But personally myself riding it, it just doesn't tick all the boxes for me, sadly. And I've seen quite a lot of reviews with this, and they're praising the hell out of it, do you know what I mean? And I'm just wondering what sort of riders they are, or reviewer they are. Anyway, I hope this to help. I can't think of anything else. I've done a couple of winters back and forth to work, and the only problem I had was that the grit given on top of the cables or something. Apart from that, I've handled it well. I've got another winter ahead of me. It's early October now, here in the UK. God knows what sort of winter we're going to have this year. We had a mildish one last year. It was bitterly cold, but not much snow at all, if any, to be honest with you, what I can remember. So how she's going to fare this year, I'm not too sure. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then into the new year, I'm most likely going to get rid of it and just see what's on the market and see what suits me. But yeah, this bike would probably maybe suit you, maybe not. It hasn't ticked all the boxes personally for me. So yeah, nice to give me some comments down below if you got this bike, if you tend to think of getting this bike. Maybe it's a few years on now and you can buy a second-hand one of these and go for it. It's definitely suited for a smaller rider. That seat, just the seating position is just so weird for me, and I'm not too tall, to be honest with you, and I've just gone through the normal things like brake pads and the chainless sprockets. I've gone through a lot, but I am using it every single day, and I'm doing about over 100 miles a week on it, back and forth. to work. So obviously I am going to be wearing the chain sprockets and stuff. Tires haven't seemed to be too bad on it at the moment, stuff and everything. Yeah, so if you can just leave me a like and comment down below, just have you got this bike, what do you think of it? Do you agree with me, do you disagree with me? That would be good. Okay, I hope this helps.